Chaos always leaves behind a residue. And in Salt Lake City, that residue is called gossip. The last time we saw the ladies, they were one wine glass away from total combustion. Lisa and Angie went head-to-head in what can only be described as the most dramatic debate over height and vacations in Housewives history. By the end, Mary was exhausted, Whitney was regretting ever hosting a tasting, and Lisa was clutching her self-importance tighter than her designer handbag. But this week? Oh, this week gives us the aftermath. The awkward apologies, the quiet phone calls, and the kind of emotional tension that makes silence feel louder than shouting. The women might not be screaming this time, but don't get too comfortable. When Salt Lake City goes quiet, it's never peace. It's preparation. Before we unravel this emotional roller coaster, take 1 second. Tap that like button. Because if you've ever seen a housewives fight turn into an apology and then back into a fight within 5 minutes, you know this story's about to explode. And if you love the chaos, the drama, and those moments that make you gasp, subscribe right now, because every episode in this season deserves a front row seat. Now let's get into the fallout. The morning after the wine tasting, Heather's phone buzzes. It's Angie, ready to rehash what went down. Heather answers faster than you'd think, because in this friend group, spilling tea before breakfast is practically a sacred ritual. Angie's voice trembles slightly. She's calmer, but her words are still laced with leftover frustration. "It is what it is with Lisa," she says, a line that sounds casual but hides layers of exhaustion. Heather, ever the loyal listener, hums softly, letting Angie talk it out. Angie confesses she feels bad for how things unfolded, but deep down, she still believes she was standing up for everyone. "I felt protective," she insists. "It wasn't just about me. It was about Lisa's reoccurring takedowns." The justification sounds rehearsed, almost like she's trying to convince herself more than Heather. Heather doesn't interrupt. She lets Angie talk, nodding through every pause. Then she says, "Maybe it's time to talk to Mary. Fix that part first." The tone is gentle, but the message is clear. If Angie wants peace, she needs to start by cleaning up the smaller messes before tackling Lisa again. Angie hesitates, then sighs. "I just hope Mary remembers what she loves about me. I'm ready for a hard conversation." Heather's confessional moment flashes through like lightning. Her expression softens as she admits, "I appreciate Angie taking accountability." She pauses, her eyes darting slightly like she's calculating the next sentence carefully. "In my heart of hearts, I believe Lisa is capable of admitting fault too." A short, sharp inhale follows. "I just don't think I've ever seen her do it." That's the thing about Heather. She's hopeful, but she knows exactly who she's dealing with. Even with all the drama, Heather insists to Angie that the upcoming girls' trip will be fun. That word, fun, lingers in the air, almost as if the universe itself rolls its eyes. Fun in this group rarely means laughter. It means confrontation disguised as bonding. It means forced smiles before emotional explosions. But Heather says it anyway, because maybe saying it out loud makes it real. Meanwhile, across town, Bronwyn and Todd are doing their best impression of a couple that still has chemistry. They're sitting in a cozy ice cream shop, pretending everything's fine. The kind of fine that's fragile, the kind that cracks under one wrong word. Todd orders raspberry cookie swirl, and Bronwyn goes classic with a sundae. It's lighthearted for about 30 seconds until she warns him not to take her cherry. Of course he does. Bronwyn glares, half amused, half annoyed. "You don't care about the details," she says, spoon frozen in midair. Todd doesn't even flinch. "At all," he replies, tone flat and final. The distance between them feels wider than the table. As she tries to open up about Lisa, about the identity theft drama that's suddenly surrounding her, Todd's attention slips away. He's not listening, and she knows it. She talks anyway, hoping that if she keeps the conversation alive, maybe the relationship won't die completely. But Todd's already gone, lost in thought, or maybe just bored of playing the supportive husband role. Bronwyn sighs quietly, realizing that no amount of ice cream can sweeten something that's already soured. Back at Lisa's house, the air feels heavy, not with perfume or privilege, but with tension. She's packing for Heather's trip, throwing clothes into designer luggage, like she's trying to bury her emotions under cashmere and couture. John walks in, calm as ever, and that alone irritates her. Lisa brings up the psychic from Whitney's wine tasting, mentioning how she said they have a communication problem. The irony practically screams from the walls. John smirks slightly. "You think?" he mutters, trying to lighten the mood. Lisa's tone sharpens. "I'm serious, John. She said we're not communicating." John tries to reply, but before he can even string a sentence together, Lisa cuts him off mid-word. Her voice gets louder, faster, defensive. She's saying she listens, while simultaneously proving she doesn't. That's when John finally stops being quiet. His voice is calm but loaded. "We're not on the same page because you don't want to hear what I have to say. You're already thinking you're right." For a moment, the air freezes. Lisa blinks, caught between surprise and pride. She admits she could be better at listening, but then instantly adds, "It's not one-sided." John's face falls. The frustration that's been simmering finally breaks through his calm exterior. "Well," he says with a bitter laugh, "everything you do is perfect. It's just me." The silence that follows says more than any argument could. Lisa looks away, pretending to check her packing, but her eyes betray her. That one line hit harder than she expected. Maybe because deep down, she knows he's right. Heather's trip can't come soon enough for Lisa. Not just to escape the group's drama, but maybe to escape herself. And as these women prepare for another adventure disguised as bonding, the fractures in their friendships and marriages are only getting deeper. Heather's clinging to optimism, Angie's clinging to redemption, Bronwyn's clinging to suspicion, and Lisa's clinging to control. But here's the thing about Salt Lake City. Control never lasts long. You can feel the pressure building like storm clouds over the mountains. Everyone's pretending they're fine, smiling through the tension, packing for a trip that's supposed to heal wounds, but will inevitably rip new ones open. Because that's what they do. That's what keeps us watching. Heather thinks it'll be a fresh start. Lisa thinks it'll be her moment to prove she's right. Angie wants forgiveness. Bronwyn wants answers. But in this city, nobody ever gets what they want. They just get what they deserve. The day of the trip arrives like the calm before a snowstorm. Beautiful on the outside, freezing cold underneath. Heather's dream of a girl's getaway feels doomed before it even begins. The group piles into luxury SUVs, designer bags in hand, smiles rehearsed like PR statements. Everyone's pretending this is going to be a reset. No one actually believes it. Lisa slides into her seat, sunglasses on, voice sharp with confidence she doesn't quite feel. She's still stewing over what John said, that she never listens, that everything's about her. It's haunting her in flashes, though she'd rather die than admit it. Angie enters quietly, her energy softer than usual, almost cautious. Mary is watching her like a hawk, ready to see if that apology energy sticks or if Angie's just acting. Heather, playing the hostess and mediator, keeps her tone high and bright. "All right, ladies, let's make this trip drama-free." The car goes silent. Even the camera crew probably laughs behind the lens. Drama-free isn't in their vocabulary. The drive starts out smooth enough. Utah mountains glimmering, playlists humming softly, but tension simmers beneath every word. Heather tries to keep conversation light, asking about everyone's packing, their skincare, their husbands. But Lisa cuts in mid-sentence with, "Some of us didn't even get a kiss goodbye." The jab lands heavy. Everyone knows she's talking about John. Bronwyn stirs her iced coffee and replies, "Maybe he's just tired of the noise." The car freezes. Lisa turns slowly. "What's that supposed to mean?" Bronwyn meets her gaze. "You love control more than connection, Lisa. Maybe that's why your relationships all sound like business deals." Heather jumps in, panicked. Okay, let's not go there." But the damage is already done. Lisa's jaw tightens. Her lips press into a thin smile that's anything but friendly. The rest of the ride is filled with silence thick enough to slice. Angie's quietly scrolling on her phone, pretending not to hear, but she's taking mental notes. Mary looks out the window, muttering to herself, "These women don't even know what peace looks like." When they finally arrive, Heather tries to reintroduce the illusion of normalcy. The resort is breathtaking. Crisp air, mountain views, and staff trained to smile no matter what chaos walks in. Heather claps her hands, announcing, "Welcome to our mountain escape," as if this is a wellness retreat and not a battleground. The first few hours actually go well. There's laughter, there's food, there's even a toast, though everyone's eyes are darting around the table, waiting for someone to make the wrong move. Angie's trying to ease her way back into the group dynamic, complimenting Mary's outfit, joking with Heather, even thanking Lisa for coming. Lisa, icy but polite, nods. Of course, I always show up. The words sound friendly, but there's venom hiding beneath the gloss. As the sun dips behind the mountains, the night begins. And in true housewives fashion, that means truth-telling, confrontation, and emotional combustion. Heather suggests they play a game, because apparently no one in Housewives history has ever learned that these games always end in chaos. The question, what's one thing you wish someone at this table understood about you? Bronwyn starts. Her tone is serious. I wish people would stop assuming the worst of me. I'm dealing with enough already, and I don't need anyone digging into things they don't understand. She looks directly at Lisa. Lisa leans back, arms crossed. If you're referring to me, say it. Bronwyn doesn't hesitate. I think you're the reason my name's been dragged into the identity theft mess. I know how you operate, Lisa. You love controlling the narrative. The table goes still. Mary mutters, "Here we go." Lisa bursts into laughter, a sharp, mocking laugh that echoes across the table. That's insane, Bronwyn. Do you hear yourself? I don't even have the time to care about your fake drama. Bronwyn's voice cracks slightly. Fake drama? My credit cards were hacked, my personal info leaked, and somehow it leads back to your assistant? Heather's eyes widen. Wait, what? Lisa fires back instantly. That's ridiculous. My assistant has better things to do than dig into your boring life. It's brutal. And effective. Bronwyn's eyes well up, and she pushes her plate away. You're cruel, she says softly, and you wonder why people don't trust you. Heather tries to de-escalate, but the tension's out of her hands now. Angie looks torn, wanting to back Bronwyn, but knowing she's already on thin ice with Lisa. Mary watches silently, reading every emotion like a psychic with popcorn. Finally, Angie speaks. Lisa, sometimes you go too far. You hurt people and then pretend you're just being honest. Lisa whips her gaze toward her. You have the nerve to talk about hurting people? You screamed at me in front of everyone last week. Angie's voice breaks, trembling but firm, because I was tired of being treated like I don't matter. The room feels electric, pulsing with emotion. Heather whispers under her breath, "This is exactly what I didn't want." Mary, never one to let a dramatic silence go to waste, finally joins in. You all keep saying you want peace, but none of you actually know what peace looks like. You don't listen. You don't learn. You just shout and blame. She folds her napkin calmly. That's why none of these friendships last. The words hang there, not loud but devastating. Lisa scoffs but doesn't respond. Angie stares at her plate. Bronwyn excuses herself quietly, muttering something about needing air. Heather looks down, knowing the trip is already falling apart before it's even begun. The next morning, Heather finds Bronwyn sitting outside, staring at the mountains. Her eyes are puffy but calm. You okay? Heather asks gently. Bronwyn sighs. No, but maybe that's okay. Maybe it's time I stop pretending everything's fine. Heather nods slowly. Sometimes pretending takes more energy than healing. It's one of those rare, quiet moments in this show, raw and real, the kind that reminds everyone why they started watching in the first place. Later that day, Lisa calls John. Her voice softens for the first time in what feels like forever. I've been thinking about what you said, she admits, about me not listening. There's a pause. You were right. John doesn't gloat. He just says, that's all I needed to hear. For once, Lisa's silence doesn't feel like control. It feels like reflection. Back at the resort, Angie and Mary cross paths again. There's no tension this time. Just a small, almost awkward peace offering. Angie smiles shyly. Thanks for hearing me out the other day. I meant it when I said I want to do better. Mary nods. I know. Just don't lose yourself trying to keep up with people who don't care. Angie exhales, as if she's been holding her breath since the last episode. And with that, the episode closes not with shouting or slammed doors, but with silence. The kind that feels heavy, meaningful, almost fragile. Because sometimes the biggest moments in Salt Lake City aren't the explosions. They're the pauses right before the next storm.